Hi everyone, welcome back to another interview on the channel. Today I'm delighted to welcome Magri-jade Jackson. She's currently a juice coach and she transformed her life after going on a juice fast. She went on a 120 day juice cleanse and completely transformed her life. I'll be putting some pictures on the screen now of the transformation. But as always, I prefer to let my guests introduce themselves just so they can really tell their story. So, if you could give us a quick intro, what inspired the juice fast, and how long you were thinking of doing it initially, that would be great.
Okay, well, a lot inspired the juice fast for sure. I was at a really I shouldn't have been at a low point in my life. I had two beautiful little baby children, and I had a boyfriend and a home, but I really couldn't see the beauty in the day to day. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to get dressed. Just nothing was fun anymore. It was really depressing, and I did go to the doctors, and I believed in all that then. Then I got some antidepressants. So it was just a really dark time, I guess, in my life, and I I remember asking the doctor how how long I've got to be on these antidepressants before I get off them, and they were like, it was kind of like indefinitely, like there's no cut-off point. So that really scared me. So I started looking into ways to get off of antidepressants. But I've been a keen um, don't want to say mycologist, but like I'm really big into my mushrooms and foraging, and
Yeah.
I started with the mushrooms, just edible mushrooms, just normal mushrooms, and then like looking at that, and it just led me to microdosing mushrooms to get off of antidepressants. So I did that for 3 months, and got off of them. And whilst I was doing them, I don't know, there's something about microdosing. It kind of, you don't like to eat the same food. Other food is kind of more attractive to you. And I was kind of on a YouTube binge, and I came across Shane Sterling
Yeah.
and raw foods. And I'm a chef anyway by trade. Before I had children, that's what I've done my whole life. I've worked in catering all the way from, front of house to managerial positions, and KP, washing up in the kitchen, to the main chef. So I've done everything, and I love food and I loved feeding people, but something just wasn't sitting right on me. It was just really, really heavy, and I tried to be a vegan, but I didn't really get it, and I was still having a bit of mayonnaise, and I tried all different sorts of things, but nothing seemed to fit. And then when I discovered this raw food, I was just like, this is it. Like, I was big
Mm.
into sort of like ancient tribes and natural
Yeah.
stuff, and always thinking back to, how would I have done it in a tribe if I wasn't in this Western world? So it seemed really natural that the food shouldn't be cooked, and we shouldn't be eating cooked food. I was just like, that fits into all my morals, all the things I've ever thought about. It was like the missing cog in my whole being.
Yeah.
So
And just quickly,
yeah,
just
completely.
just to clarify, you were
Yeah.
sitting at around 210 pounds at the start of your journey.
Yeah, I was 210 pounds. I didn't even mind, I carried it well.
Yeah.
I liked it. I didn't mind. Though I didn't like the fact that I couldn't just look in my wardrobe and get out anything. It would have to be a planned outfit. I'd have to buy
Mm.
new before I went out. I'm sure a lot of women can relate to this. You're just looking and looking through your closet, and there's just nothing that fits, and it gets so depressing that you don't even want to go out in the end. Um,
Mm.
Circumstances like that seem so silly to me now, like the way
Well,
my
looking at you
thinking
now,
has
it's
come
like a
along.
completely different woman.
Hmm.
It's it's amazing. So sorry, before I interrupted.
No, that's all right. Where was I? Yeah, so I found the raw foods, everything fitted into place. I found Shane Sterling, found his Facebook group, joined up straight away. It was only at about 300 members then, so yeah, it was quite small. but I found him so inspiring. And if anyone knows Shane, like his early videos and stuff, they're just captivating. You're just watching him, and he really sucks you in. And yeah, I jumped in there. The support and the like, I don't know, it's just like full of people that get you, and it's just like, yay, I found my
Mm.
tribe, and it felt like I really found my purpose. Um, Even just finding what food I should eat, let alone getting doing the work I do now. So I joined up, learnt about juice fasting, and literally I went raw for 2 weeks just to play around with the foods and really have fun with it and get excited about my new lifestyle. And I'd never completed anything in my life before this, just FYI. I was always one of those ones that would like faddy start up this diet. I did the Atkins diet. I'd done, Weight Watchers, Slimming World. I'd sold Avon products, Body Shop.
Yeah,
I'd
my
done
mum did all
all the
that.
little faddy things, trying to find out what my niche was and what I wanted to do. And I'm sure loads of people have done that. But so everyone in my life was like, oh God, here we go. Magri's going to go on a juice fast. And I was originally going to do it for like 40 days. I thought 40 days, that's long enough to get in, get out. And then I see this girl, Luminous Raw, on YouTube. If you type in 115 days mucoid plaque, the
Hmm.
things that came out of her, and she didn't use any husk and clay. We'll talk about that later, but it just came out of her naturally. She had these big boulders, and she's quite a slight, slim woman. And
Yeah,
I'm just thinking, wow, like if she's got that in her, and she was quite healthy as well. Um, God knows what I've got in me. I'm gonna have to go longer than her. So, and a little bit of my ego as well was like, I'm gonna do longer than that. And I think it was the longest juice fast I'd seen at the time,
yeah.
115 days. So I was like, yeah, I'm doing 120. Um, and yeah, I jumped into that 2 weeks, and it's literally 3 years to the day today that I done that. I jumped into that, and I was gonna wait till the 1st of November, I remember, and then I just done it, and I would definitely encourage anyone else to just jump in. Don't wait. Do act on it while you feel
For
like it.
sure, for
Um,
sure.
but yeah, so that's
And it,
that's how I got to the juice fast.
and
Anyway.
that, and that was around 3 years ago.
Mm,
Yeah, wow. And it
blown
completely
by.
transformed your life. Like now you've made a whole. It's your whole life now, isn't it? Now you're teaching others how to transform their life. And to me, it seems like you're in alignment with your purpose and your passion. And I can tell, like, when you speak about it, you radiate passion and joy when you talk about it. So
Yeah.
it's amazing how it's transformed your life. But kind of what I want to, the direction I want to take this in for the people is kind of a complete guide to juice fasting at the start, because you've got a wealth of knowledge, and I've got loads of questions that my mum asked me, I've had in my mind, because I haven't actually ever done a juice fast, and I'm thinking of starting one. So I'd love to pick
What
your
about
brain
your
on that.
mum? Is your mum thinking of doing one?
Yeah, yeah. She discovered the Jason Vale books, if you've heard of him, the Juice Master,
Yeah,
back
I've
in the
got a little
day.
bit of beef like he doesn't know about. I'm like,
We'll get on
he's
to
like a
that.
millionaire and he only done 100 days. And I'm like, I've done 120 days. I'm not a millionaire yet.
But so yeah, the first question I was going to ask is, why should someone do a juice fast if they've heard about a juice fast, or they've heard all the buzzwords and that, they might be thinking like, why should I do one? So why and when would you say it's suitable to do a juice fast?
Well, I'm a little bit biased. I think everyone should do a juice fast, apart from type 1 diabetics. But I just, it gets in, especially following the protocol. I mean, if you're just juicing willy-nilly, it can be a bit like there's no goal, there's no purpose. But if you're doing like the specific juices for the protocol, they get in, they break down inside our gut. The gut's got like little spongy walls that soak up all the nutrients and minerals, and these can become coated in like films, fats, and hardened proteins from like
Mm,
milk, and mucus and biofilms, so that it just gets all clogged up like oil on a sponge, and it just doesn't work
Yeah.
properly, and we can't absorb what we need to. So the green juice in particular gets in and starts to break down all of that. Once you've got all your old meals out of you from like the last couple of weeks, then it starts to break down all of this stuff, and then the second juice pulls it through. So you're just clearing out, cleaning out, and it's like a blank slate for you to sort of repopulate your gut garden, the microbiome, with good bacteria, because a lot of us have got like in and out different bacterias in there from all sorts, and parasites, and you can get 3 different types of parasites just from stroking a cat, especially in our lifestyle. But
Wow.
it's okay to have some parasites
Yeah.
in there. But yeah, I think, well, I know from doing my job and seeing it, there seems to be quite a distinct what would you call it? When someone's got a lot of parasites, they tend to have quite a lot of mental health issues as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there's that. Just all sorts of reasons to clear out. I mean, just the clarity, just to give your body a break from eating. Your thinking just gets on point. You start coming out with words that you might not have even used before. It's it's
Yeah.
bizarre, and you just feel really fresh, and it gets down inflammation in the body, and it just helps to give your system a real good reset.
Yeah. Even I've never done juicing, but even when I did a 7-day watermelon cleanse, I noticed myself how easy it was, the light digestive load. Like you say, the mental clarity, it was definitely noticeable for me personally. And just what you touched on there when you were talking about all the things in the digestive system, are you referring to mucoid plaque?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I hate to use that word now.
Yeah, it's quite a buzzword, isn't it now?
It's a buzzword, and it creates it. It makes it seem like some entity, and people do a juice fast and they get really disheartened when they don't get this long serpent shaped,
Yeah.
bowel shaped thing out of them. But they do get stuff out of them. They get out parasites, they get out biofilms. I see it, I get pictures.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I see it. But they tend to be really disheartened about that. And and obviously there's scientists that will say that it doesn't exist, and people that say it does exist. And when it's explained like mucoid plaque, it's not. I don't think. I think it should just be described as what it is: the mucus and the hardened proteins, and
Yeah.
the liver flukes and the parasites, and some people do get out this big. I mean, I got out a lot, but not the big mother load that some people do, and
Yeah,
some
yeah.
people might want.
And I think that's quite an important point to make, because some people, like you say, they might be expecting this 12-foot serpent to come out, or like you say, some entity, but you may also just have little bits coming out that
Yeah.
maybe
And
you might
before
not
those
notice.
little bits come out as well, I notice in all my clients, they get really emotional. That's the time that they usually want to give up, or they're
Yeah,
like thinking about something in their past, and I have to really just sort of bring them back to, and no, this is it. You're probably going to pass
yeah,
something tomorrow, and 9 times out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, the next day they've like showing me pictures of what's come out the next day.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. It's like the storm before the calm almost.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So that's what I was also going to ask you. Like, what should people expect, and how do they prepare themselves if they're thinking of, I don't know, embarking on this journey? What should they expect, and how should they prepare themselves in terms of like diet and equipment and the produce, just things like that? So yeah, we were just quickly interrupted, but I was going to ask what to expect when someone embarks on this juice fasting journey, and how they can prepare themselves in terms of maybe dietary changes prior to the juice fast, and securing produce, just just preparation steps they need to have in place and what to expect before they start?
Um, well, I would try to always say to not, you know, look forward too much and try not to map it out too much. It's easy and nice and fun if you let it be. If you kind of get a bit, oh God, I'm going to not be eating for a long time, and oh, this is strange, and it's not the mindset that you need going in. Being excited and being like, oh, you know, if my body hasn't had a rest, I'm going to treat it really good. I'm going to give it what it needs, and it's going to be a really awesome experience. If you go in with that sort of attitude, that's always a bit of a winner, really. But yeah, you need a good juicer, good slow masticating juicer. I have tried the centrifugal ones. I was using a hell a lot of produce. Like it would take me about 3 pineapples to do a litre, a quart
Yeah, that's a
in
lot.
a centrifugal one, and then yeah, my single masticating one, it was just 1 pineapple. So you really
Yeah,
do
big difference.
yeah, and that was a cheap one. I did my 120 days with a matte stone. It's not even made anymore. It's from like 2006, and that done me proud. It done me so proud. I bought about 4 of those afterwards and gave them to my friends. They were like 50 quid off of eBay. So yeah, really, really good little machine. It did take me a while. Now I've got the Nama. No
And
shout out to Nama because they wouldn't let me affiliate with them. They I love the Namajay too though. You can just, especially being a mum, it's quite a pretty penny, but I've used it every day for
hmm
like the since I've had it.
and do you
Um,
notice compared to even like your Matt Stone one or whatever it was called, have you noticed quite a difference in yield?
Between the matte stone and the Nama,
Yeah,
I would probably say no, not much difference in the yield. Just the time taken.
yeah,
And you can walk off and leave the Nama. You don't have to
yeah,
painstakingly push it all through. But even being in that process for the 120 days, it breaks you down. You're like, I can't juice anymore. But you kind of need that you need to be broken down to rebuild
yeah,
good discipline and good rituals and stuff like that. So yeah, I appreciated that process, even though it was quite a painstaking one.
yeah. And in terms of diet, do people have do they have to make any changes, or can they jump straight into juicing?
Well, they can jump straight in. I did take 2 weeks to be raw beforehand, just to play around with it, and my detox symptoms were considerably less. And I have noticed that if you do have a little bit of a raw diet beforehand, then yeah, your detox symptoms don't seem to be as bad and as rough and as heavy as
hmm
some, especially those sort of coming off coffee. That's quite a hard one for the headaches on like the day 3 and 4 headaches. People that drink coffee do generally get that. So yeah, having some tips and tricks under your belt and substitutes for that time in the juice fast is always good. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, preparing for the juice fast. I wouldn't clear your calendar as such, but I wouldn't be saying go out, to restaurants or anything, especially in the first 20 days after you've done, because I would recommend 40 days sort of minimum. And I would even say 100 days would be amazing, but
yeah,
the brain, it's just 1 day for the beginning. That's what you've got to think. I've just got to get through this 1 day of juicing.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so kind of try and have a little time to yourself, have the 40 days rest
yeah,
and recouping to yourself. And I think that's why it was good that I did it this time of year, because it's kind of like going into hibernation over Christmas.
yeah. That's another thing I was going to ask you. What what would you say is the best time of year to do it? Is there any one time you'd recommend, or should can people do it all year round?
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of people that like to do it in the summer because the fruit's all ripe and that. But yeah, I tend to like to do it in the winter because um, one, getting through Christmas, when you go through Christmas on a juice fast, you really see with the blinkers off of all the marketing and all the just all the marketing and
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
consumerism, and then
People
it passes
stuff
you
in their
by.
faces.
Yeah, it passes you by just one day, and you see how much stress it causes people, and then it's gone. And when you're juicing, it's just like
Mm,
it's just like it went past me like this, like wow.
yeah.
Okay, so that was Christmas. So yeah, it took a different form for me then. I mean, obviously I've got children, and you know, the magic of Christmas and all that for them. But yeah, it was definitely an eye-opening one, doing a juice fast over Christmas. So some people would say that was hard then, but I liked it. I think as a mum as well, your job is to spread joy, not enjoy Christmas. So uh, being on the juices Christmas Day, cooking up the dinners and running them around to everyone, like taking them over to my mum, and you know, cooking for the family and just tidying up and stuff. I found it quite a lot easier. I
Yeah.
didn't have to sort of worry about sitting down and eating.
Yeah, because most people would be like, how in the hell did you do that? Like, you know, with all of those temptations and things like that.
Yeah,
But
well, by that point, food as I knew it wasn't really looking and smelling like food. It was just brown and
yeah,
dead, and nothing was electrical and alive like the fruit. Just the
yeah,
look of it. I even look at some food now and I just laugh. I'm just like, what even it like
pasta.
pasta for
Yeah,
one for me. I love it. I love it. I loved it with cheese and tomato. That was actually my last cooked meal that I had. I know I could have made it like yeah, a bit more exciting than that, but yeah, it made me sick after all the raw food I had. So
mm,
yeah, it's just a bland brown. It's got nothing in it. It's like a
yeah,
filler, sludgy. I just imagine it going in your pipes and just sticking to it all. Yeah, I can't.
yeah. The funny thing is, it used to be a staple in my
Mm,
diet. I'm sure it used to be in yours as well. And I used to think it was really nutritious. But like you say, once you realize what it does to your internal pipes and tubes, you no longer appreciate it. So I was going
yeah,
to
I'm
ask you, yeah,
sorry.
sorry. No, no.
It's just the fact that when you leave it in a bowl when it's cooked, and if you leave it out on the side once it's hardened, I know we're not hot, like dry inside, but how hard it goes and how much you've got to go at it to get it off the
Yeah.
bowl. I just think, oh, I don't want that inside of me.
No, thank you.
Mm.
So I was going to ask you, like you said, there was a point where you no longer crave food or all the temptations. What would you say is like in terms of a timeline? What's the hardest time? So like people start their juice fast day one. When are they going to be struggling, and then typically, and when is it going to get easier for them usually?
Yeah. Okay. Well, the majority, I mean, day one's the hardest day.
Okay.
Um, Day three, four, people that drink coffee, in particular, and for others. But I'd say the first 14 days are quite tricky, just because a lot of people are not used to these weird feelings in their stomach, what they think is what their tubes shrinking because they're not eating, and they're not being all discombobulated with food that shouldn't be in there. That's what they think is hunger. So it's a lot of going through those kind of emotions, and explaining bits and pieces to people. It just makes people not, I don't know, just a bit scared, worried, not knowing what's going on. And there's a lot of that in the first few days. And then, like, I'd say after about day 7, they do get in their mojo. And then, yeah, 7 to 14. And then they kind of tend to start the husk and clay. And that can bring a whole new sort of set of challenges for some people.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'd say after about 2 weeks, people are generally in their flow and enjoying it. For me, it was probably about day 20.
Yeah.
I didn't start documenting my process on Instagram until about day 20. So that's what I'm thinking. In the beginning, I was a bit like, oh, what is this? Like, and just getting to grips with the juicing and getting in my flow of how it worked for me. So, yeah, I'd say after about 14 days. But
Hmm.
some people go in straight away, loving it, flying, brilliant
Yeah.
time. So it really is person dependent and mindset dependent, I'd say.
Definitely. And how would someone know when to stop? Like, what kind of signs would tell them, or what do you look for typically when people should stop?
Well, um, I know people that have juice fasted for a year, so
Wow.
they didn't have any signs of hunger even after the year. So
Amazing.
when the time is to stop, who knows? But apparently, true hunger is felt in the throat,
Yeah,
not the
I've heard
stomach.
Doug Graham
So
say that.
that's a good sign to look out for. But I mean, I was ready to be done at about day 100, and I spoke to Shane, and he just reminded me, what is your goal? And it was to get to 120 days because I'm stubborn like that. And he just sort of reminded me to take me back to that. So I just pushed on through to 120, but I had 20 days of the juice was going in and it was coming out the same way that it
Mm-hmm.
went in. It was just like a
Mm-hmm.
flushing through. I had no solid waste whatsoever for about uh, 20 days, 20, 30 days.
Wow.
Yeah, and
So
then,
that's a good sign to stop if it starts coming
yeah,
out.
that's a good time to stop. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. So that's something I'm interested in as well. Just the waist, the bowel movements. What should people expect in that regard?
Did
You
you
know,
see my video?
I've seen snippets and I've seen other people's videos, like some of the things getting pulled out, but no, I can't talk specifically. No.
I did document it in the poo files. Um, but yeah, I remember on day 44, because I got to day 40, still had no mucoid plaque. I was beaten into submission, like trying to get that stuff out. And that's why I didn't really focus on all the weight I'd lost. It was literally, I remember sort of looking down about day 56 and thinking, wow, like I look really good. I took a couple of pictures, put them online. Everyone was really like shocked. And but because I was so going to the toilet every day, I was pooing in a bowl, I was sieving through it, like trying to find this mucoid plaque.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't see it until day 44.
Wow.
And then it kept coming out of me in dribs and drabs. I wasn't very heavy on using husk and clay, I just sort of as and when really. Um, and yeah, and then it stopped coming about day 88. Whether or not I've still got some more in there, who knows? I would like to do another long one. John Rose, he done,
Yeah.
I think, 3 90-day ones and still got stuff out of him. So, yeah, I'm by no way as fit as him. So maybe there's more in there. Who knows?
Yeah. I think that's the constant dilemma, isn't it? It's like, oh, have I still got stuff in me? Blah blah blah.
Mm,
But yeah, yeah. I've heard John Rose talk about like solid food vacations in the past and things like that.
I love
He's
him.
yeah. He's a
He
cool
is my
guy, isn't
hero.
he? uh, I was gonna ask you how much people should drink because I've heard like 4 to 6 liters, or they say quarts, like a big mason jar. Is that what you'd recommend?
Yeah, definitely. If you have any less than if you have 3 liters, you feel it the next day, really. You're kind of running on empty and you don't want to be starving. And this is the
Mm,
problem when people do like half water and half juice fast. You're not, it's one or the other. The water fasting's for a different purpose to the juice fasting. The juice fasting is cleansing. The water fasting is for autophagy and cell eating and whatnot.
mm-hmm.
So when you've only got a few calories in you, then your body's like holding on to everything, and you're not washing through, and you don't tend to get out mucoid plaque, and you really run low on energy. I find.
Yeah.
Um, if you're a bit of a bigger person as well, you do lose weight on that many juices as well. I had always 4 liters every day, and towards the end, I might have had 5 or 6 some days, or some special occasions I would have grabbed another juice. But always 4 litres, but sometimes I had 3 and I'd really feel it the next day, and that's a general pattern that I've seen
Yeah.
with the
So,
clients. And some people even have 10 litres a day. I've
wow.
got some crazy ex-client, Dan Udy. Shout out to Dan Udy. He's he slammed that juice fast, 10 litres down in the juices. Yeah, he's done a really good job.
And how how would you know when? If you just feel hungry, then you just increase it, or how?
I just have it in my hand all day, every day, especially in the
Yeah.
beginning. I would recommend that, because you're just gonna you never know when it's gonna hit you. You're gonna get a
Mm.
thought of, oh, I'm hungry, I
Like
need
an
to
energy
eat. But
crash.
yeah, well, not so much an energy crash, more like I'm thinking about food again. Oh, what should I
Ah,
do?
okay.
Oh, what am I going to have for dinner? What am I going to have for lunch? And then, oh no, I'm juice fasting. And then you just need to be sipping, sipping, sipping.
Yeah, yeah. So make sure you got the juices on hand then.
Yeah, I mean, perfect would be, um, having your juice in the morning, and then 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours. I would say, if you really wanted to be dogmatic about it, which I
Hmm.
don't recommend.
Yeah, that's a great point. We were just interrupted again, but I want to touch on now, how much does it cost? Like, because for me personally, a big thing that's been putting me off has been like the fact that I'd have to be going to the supermarket or the store, wherever you are, uh, basically every day, getting all this produce, all this fruit, veg, etc. So how much roughly does it cost? How much did it cost you? And yeah, kind of like how often do you have to go? 'Cause that's kind of
You
on
know,
my
it's
mind.
it's it's a good question, but it's one I wouldn't get hung up on. If you're anything like me, which you're probably not if you're preparing like that, I do. I deal with what I've got in front of me for today and the next day, and then I'll worry about the next day and the next day, the next day.
Yeah, go
So
with the flow.
I always made sure I had 4 days worth of juice, ideally, and otherwise the produce starts to go off and go funny.
It's true.
So it costs about, if you're doing 4 litres, so each juice, the lemon ginger blast, is roughly about £7 English pounds, and then the citrus juice, the best bang for your buck is pineapple, and if you get a really decent pineapple for £3, then that juice is £3, but you can mix that up
Yeah.
uh, as you want. So it's about 20-25 pounds a day. But then if you start looking at that for the week, and it's
And you're not eating
about
out.
70-80 quid for 4-5 days. If you get some deals from a local greengrocer, like on a box of grapefruits, you can save there. You can really save on the citrus if you buy a box of oranges, box of apples, a box of pineapples, those kind of things. But being in the UK, I have my non-negotiable organic, so things that I can taste are not organic are celery, cucumber, spinach, and
Yeah,
apples.
I was gonna say
Those are the
apple.
4 things I would make sure that were organic. Everything else was just cheap. Go to Aldi, get my herbs. I still do that now. But I would go to, Sainsbury's and get the celery and that. But I would tend to try and get a delivery somewhere in the week, so I didn't have to go out. So I was only going out once or twice. But I mean, I got really friendly with the local greengrocer, and it's a really good experience. People who are around veg are nice.
Yeah.
I don't care. They're salt of the earth people, and getting a really good relationship within that kind of environment is good for the community, good for your soul as well.
Mm.
So
Cause,
yeah.
'cause, yeah, I was gonna say about which to buy organic and which non-organic, but that makes sense. So anything without skin, I guess, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I looked at it. I
Yeah.
was peeling the citrus off, and
Yeah.
I mean, I know it comes up, it soaks it up from the earth, but you just can do what you can do, haven't you? Otherwise, you probably will drive yourself nuts with that at some point on your journey, if you're on this healing path journey, or raw foods, whatever.
Mm.
You will drive yourself mad with the organic stuff and the pesticides and growing your own, and But at the end of the day, you can just do your best with what you've got.
Yeah, it's so true because
I know people that have had successful juice fasts using non-organic stuff all the way through. So, yeah, it's not the best or perfect, but what is perfect?
exactly. I think, like you say, just doing the best with what's in front of you and controlling what you can control and not getting hung up on these ideal things, especially living in the
Yeah,
UK. Like,
yeah. It's those thoughts are more toxic than the actual
yeah,
pesticides, I'd say.
yeah, for sure.
They just start eating you up from the inside out.
Yeah, for sure. Because Dr. Robert Morse, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. I know everyone's heard of him, but he was able to,
Legend.
yeah, recently been censored, but he was able to help people with various ailments and diseases just with like conventional grapes, like seedless, things like that. So yeah, like you say, it's not really an excuse, but it's quite a common question and quite a common concern I see among people, and myself included. It
Yeah.
stops quite a few people, but yeah, I think that's a really good point of just doing the best with what you got, and also
Yeah, I mean, you can wash the organic ones. I mean, these pesticides, they're made to withstand rain, so I'm not quite sure how much you're going to wash off even putting them in some bicarb or whatnot. But if it makes you feel better, then do that. I've soaked my grapes in bicarb before, and I feel better eating them when I've done all that ritual with them.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, I think it's just that peace of mind, isn't it, for most people?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So another thing that's been putting me off at the minute is I'm kind of on this muscle building journey or trying to bulk up a little bit because I'm coming from a bit of a skinny background. But if someone's coming from quite a skinny, low weight background, would you still recommend juicing for them? And also on that point, is it possible to build muscle or gain weight with the juices? Because in my head, I'm thinking in terms of calories. I know maybe you absorb it slightly differently, but would it be possible if you're intaking enough calories to actually gain weight with the juices?
Well, this is something I would love to know
Yeah,
myself. So I'm actually doing my own experiment. This in a couple of days' time, I'm going to do the juice fast, and I'm bodybuilding at the moment.
nice.
So I wanted to see how that worked out. I mean, I've got a little bit of weight to lose. I'm not on the skinny side, so it would work a little bit different. But for anyone that comes to me that's quite on the low BMI scale, I do have to look at whether there is an eating disorder or anything first, and you've got to check these things because it might be that they're in a stage in their life where they need nourishment and they need to put things into their body rather than take away. But
Mm.
yeah, if someone's healthy, fit, and wants to juice fast and they want to stay in the gym and they want to lift weights, they can. I would always say this is a time to detox. So your time to rebuild would be afterwards, and sort of try to compartmentalize it like that. But if you want to keep hold of your muscle and not lose any weight, keep the intake of juices up to at least 6 litres, and you'll always maintain. You can maintain. I've never seen people put on weight on a juice fast
Yeah.
yet, but I've not seen anyone that's weightlifting doing a juice fast yet. So yeah, I really want to see that. And anyone who is quite active in the gym, I'd always recommend putting some spirulina or some green powders in your lemon ginger blast. Definitely as a little, protein fix. I've probably got more spirulina in me, or I can get more spirulina in me in a lemon ginger blast than I can in any other recipe. So
Hmm.
yeah, I find that quite helpful when bodybuilding. And not that I really believe in the whole protein thing. Again, another experiment I'm doing on
Yeah.
myself. But I would like to I try to follow the rules to start with, and then I'll bend them to my way.
Yeah, for sure. And just quickly on that, maybe people are thinking lemon ginger blast. I've heard of it. What's in that? Is it apple, celery, lemon?
Yeah, it's a whole head of celery, so the whole thing. Everyone's like, is it 1, 2 sticks? No, it's
No.
the whole thing. You can put the root and all in there. Make sure when you put it in your juicer, I chop it up because they just clog up every juicer, and then you're cleaning the thing.
Right.
So you don't want to do that. So that, a whole celery, a lemon with the skin off. If you leave the skin on and it's organic, it's just too lemony. It's so bitter. Don't do that.
Okay.
A nubbin of ginger, probably about that much. Nubbin of turmeric. I didn't even know turmeric came in nubbins. I was putting the but yeah, you can get those if you're in the UK. You can get those in Sainsbury's and Waitrose, and some little like side Asian stores and stuff like that. But it's not readily available, to be fair. And then 2 apples, green's best. Organic off a tree would be even better, because I heard somewhere along the line that all Granny Smith green apples are organic, but they're not labelled like that in the UK. I don't know how true that is. But I always went for an organic apple, so it would tend to be red. Is the only organic apple I could find in the UK.
Yeah.
So that, 30 grams of parsley, 30 grams of coriander, and I always had 30 grams of mint, just to mask any taste in there.
Yeah.
And I had some chili. I had about that much chili for about 90 days, and then it was like the burning ring of fire down there. It was so swollen, I could not have chili anymore, and I've never had chili in the juice again since then.
So what's the purpose of the chili and all of that?
Oh, there's the chili. It's really good detoxifier, and I have got a little fact sheet actually on all the benefits of the chili. But yeah, it's just another little cleanser in there.
Mm-hmm.
Bit like, I think they probably take that from the Master Cleanse, putting that in there.
Okay. Because I've heard people say about cayenne pepper being better than chili, but it's not something I've really got too hung up on. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, it makes you sweat. It makes you clear out, I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, 90 days was probably a little bit too much.
Yeah, I'm sure you felt that. So
Yeah.
obviously 120 days, most people would say that is an awfully long time. Did you have any like time saving tips or things like that you'd recommend, just so people aren't spending hours in the kitchen?
Yeah, I always do it like a 3-stage affair now. So my stage 1 would be to get all the fruit and veg in one place in the kitchen, so I know what I've got, and if I need to go shopping or whatever. And I do that for 2 days really. I'd have a bowl here and a bowl there. And then the second stage would be to peel what I could before juicing, so like the pineapples, the citrus, the lemon. I wouldn't cut or do anything from the lemon ginger blast, and I would just cover that over until I was going to juice. And then the third stage, which is what I would usually do in the morning, I'd get up an hour early so it didn't eat into my day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would just juice, have all that packed away, have my 4 juices ready to go for the day. And then if I fancied one later on in the night, I would probably do that. And then if I was doing something the next day, I would get the juices definitely ready all the night before and just have them to go. And if I had a long trip, I did go to a festival when I was juice fasting as well. I bought these little like these squishy packets, litre packets, with a twisty cap, and I froze the last days. So I had the 1 day's ready, and I had the next day's was for the next day. I just tried to keep it in the cool box, and then the third day's was frozen. And you can sometimes get away with that as well if you're travelling, flying. Some frozen juices in your case, obviously not in mason jars.
No.
Yeah. And having some transportable containers is always a good idea.
Yeah.
The mason, I have smashed a few mason jars in my time. But yeah, preparation was key. Always doing something for future me. I always had that line in my head from my good friend Jackie. She posted a little post about it, and it's do something for future you. And I tried to do that every day.
Yeah. And yeah, I think when you've got that end goal, when you've got that vision, when you've got that intention, which I've heard so many people say is really important on a juice fast or fasting or any cleanse, really, just having that intention and purpose. Even with psychedelics, just having at least an outcome or a goal in mind, it makes it a lot easier, doesn't it? Then you're going to follow through. You're going to take the necessary actions. And
Yeah, I had a vision board that I put together in the beginning of my juice fast, and I still come back to it now. And I have literally just this year I've realised that I've got almost everything on the vision board.
wow,
So now I know that it's come to about 3 years. It's taken it all to come to fruition, like even down to like the picture of the house that I put on.
yeah,
Is exactly the same as the house that I'm in now. And I didn't even
wow,
clock till I looked at the vision board again. I was like, wow, I'm in that. So it wasn't just a juice fast, it was a complete timeline change for me. It was a quantum leap
mm,
in thinking where my life was going. I think I would have been dead. I know it sounds quite solemn, but I just couldn't see it, the reason to keep going on and round and round. It felt like every day was Groundhog Day. And, I know every day is somewhat similar to the last day in life, and that's just how life is. But it was just not, I couldn't cope with it. It was too heavy. And I just really don't know where I would be now if I didn't do the juice fast. So, I've moved 200 miles away from where I lived before. I've started a whole new life.
yeah,
I've got my own business. I live in the countryside. I grow my own food. I'm just like, it's a completely different world now. So, and it all started with a juice fast. And people think that they're coming, oh, we'll just fix up my diet and I'll just have a clean out, and then they get a spiritual
yeah.
awakening.
A whole life
It's
transformation. I heard
magical, yeah.
Shane talk about. I've heard so many people. That's kind of what's inspiring me. Don't get me wrong. I feel like my life's good. It's going well, but I've just heard so many amazing testimonials and stories of people transforming their lives. So
Mm.
it's something you'd recommend if someone feels a bit stuck in their life.
Yeah, it's once you can prove to yourself that you've got it in you to have that amount of discipline,
Yeah.
and you've proved it to you and no one else, and everyone that said you can't do that, you can't do that, and you've proved it, that's the feeling that takes you higher and just really helps you to believe in yourself, and then you start to see there's just things differently. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah, I'd love to
yeah.
touch on like law of attraction and entrepreneurship in a minute. I just have one final question about the juice fasting, and that's how to break the fast because I think that's really important. Because if you've heard of the vegetable police, he broke one of his fasts with I don't think it was a juice fast. It was I think just a water fast
An
or
egg.
yeah
It was
with a
an
raw
egg,
egg.
wasn't it?
Yeah, and he ended up hospitalized. So this isn't medical advice. A little disclaimer, but how would you
Yeah.
recommend breaking a fast?
Yeah, Casey, shout out to Casey. He actually mentioned me on one of his
Oh
videos and
wow.
got me a lot of subscribers. I was like, oh, thank you. Yeah, I think he mentioned my poo video. I was like, oh, this is it. I'm going to be known for my poo video. But yeah, yeah, I couldn't believe it when I saw that video that he'd break it with an egg. I was jeepers,
Criminal.
because that's the area that I really like. I mean, I love being a juice fast coach, but because I'm a chef, it's the refeeding
Mm,
I really, really love. And I wrote a refeed guide, but it just should be slowly. You should take half the time that you've done the fast, breaking the fast. So I should have took 60 days. I probably took about 6. I broke it really quickly.
wow.
I just wanted to get into like dehydrated pizzas and nuts and yeah, all sorts. But yeah, you you can get edema if you refeed too quickly, especially if you've had troubles with inflammation as well in the past and stuff like that. So you really should take it slowly. But I mean, don't be petrified. You should break it with just soft, juicy fruit to start with, keeping up with the juices, just drop in a juice and add in a fruit meal. For like, I break that down into 3 as well. So like, say with my juice fasters that do the 40 days, we do like 7 days. They'll have all their juices, and then they'll drop one juice, have the juicy fruit. Then the next 7 days, they'll drop another juice, and they'll have like a salad mainly made up of the ingredients that are in the lemon ginger
Yeah.
blast, and they'll have a low fat dressing, no fats yet. And I've got sort of ingredients and that for everything that you should break the fasting in that refeed guide. I think it's on my website. I'm not sure. Um, And then the third stage would be to introduce the fats in. But that being said, I've had people that have broke it with avocados.
Wow.
Some have problems, some don't have problems. I've had people that have chia, flaxseed, blooming crackers and whatnot. And some people get real pains, some people don't. But like best practice would be to do it that slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely not anything cooked or
Yeah, for sure.
grains or just anything like that. Yeah,
Yeah, because I think
yeah,
in my mind, I wasn't sure of specifics, but in my head, I would have said like gradually just kind of go up the scale, like high watery H3O2 fruits, and then gradually reincorporate. So yeah, I think that's quite important to not
yeah,
rush that process, because that seems like quite a slow time horizon, doesn't it? But like you say, it's maybe the most important stage, kind of
yeah.
breaking that.
But by about week 3, you're on, like, that's kind of how your diet's going to look. If you're going to take it 80-10-10 as well for a period of time, having a juice, a smoothie, and a salad with a nut dressing is going to be roughly about 80-10-10 macros. So yeah, you get into your mojo a bit there. But I mean, depending on where, when, and how, and if you're healing something and you're going to take it for a year or two, I mean, I'd always recommend a year or two on 80-10-10 just to see how it feels. But that's going to look a lot different to, say, your second or third year being raw. You might want to take it a bit more mono fruits. You might want to have more dehydrated stuff. I mean, I've had a lot of the gourmet stuff, and it kind of makes you appreciate the mono fruit
Yeah.
meals a bit more. But as a chef, I found it really difficult to like mono meals because I'm just like, I
Yeah.
want to get creative. I want this flavor, that flavor, this flavor,
Yeah.
and that's a real internal, yeah, battle for me.
Yeah, I think yeah,
But
no,
I do try to eat mono
it's
fruit.
fair enough. I think it's about knowing yourself as well, because I know for me personally, I'm maybe a little bit lazy in the kitchen. I'm a simple guy. For me, the mono meals are beautiful, and I don't get bored of them as long as I've got fairly okay quality fruit, because it can be a bit of a struggle depending on where you're living with like subpar quality fruit, like you say, mixing it up, and recipes can kind of mask poorer quality ingredients. Because I know my mum, she would definitely miss her like recipes. She loves fully raw Christina, people like that. Whereas people like that don't really resonate with me as much, but I can still appreciate it. And it's great, I think, for getting everyone kind of into this movement, because there's someone for everyone. There's someone who we all resonate with.
Yeah, I'm just jealous of Fully Raw Christina. She's living her best life in Hawaii there with her beautiful hair and
Yeah, maybe. But
yeah,
I think we always think that someone else has got the best life, but the best life is our
yeah.
current life. But yeah, I know what you
This
mean. It
is it.
does look
Yeah.
like she's having a nice time. Let's put it that way.
It's all that sun. I
Y-
miss that in the UK. I've got to say, I feel like I am a tropical being,
Yeah,
and this lifestyle has definitely confirmed that to me.
yeah. I guess we can touch on that actually. Like, how have you found it living in the UK? Because obviously I've come back to the UK, but then soon I'm going to be traveling Mexico all about, get a bit of the sun on me, a bit of vitamin D. But how have you found it? Because I struggled when I initially came back, but now I've realised you can do it from anywhere in the world. Maybe it won't be as easy, but there's a lot of excuses out there. So, how have you found it living in the UK, and what kind of tips would you give for people living in colder climates? Yeah, colder climates.
Yeah, well, it's always good to remember that, hot food and hot drinks do not make you hot inside. It's actually cold drinks and, like, a bit of chili, pepper, or whatever, or will make you
Oh, really?
warm inside. Yeah, a lot of people think that, but yeah, if you Google ways to warm up, um, well, ways to warm up will give you things like hot water bowls and whatnot.
Hmm.
But if you look into what actually makes you warm inside, it's not warm food. It all kind of goes down to the same body temperature. Um, yeah, I'm like you. Yeah, I don't like to make excuses. I mean, we've got access to fruit and vegetables and whatnot, and that's why I really started getting into the foraging, of looking into the green stuff and the different things that I could use for like salad leaves and alternatives, just in case, you know, I couldn't get to a supermarket or
Yeah.
whatnot. And another reason why I moved to the countryside, so I've got the plot of land to grow all my own food, although I didn't realise how difficult it is, and doing it on your own
Yeah.
is tricky. But I got a few beds in, and I've got some celery, and I've had some beetroots, and I've had some spinach and all that jazz, which has been really nice. But yeah, next year I'm really going to get to it. And microgreens, they can be grown anywhere. They are your best friend. As a raw vegan anyway. Or as a fruitarian, I don't think they go for the microgreens, do they?
No, I don't know. It's a weird one because like labels, you know, me myself, I identify online as a fruitarian, but like ultimately I just enjoy eating fruit, and I'm not gonna like beat myself up if I eat like microgreens or veg or things like that. But I'm not sure what they identify with. But no, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I wish I could be all fruit, but I love the salad
Yeah,
greens so much, and I love the microgreens. But they can be grown on like a windowsill or in a jar or anything like
yeah,
that. So that's always a good little staple to have. If you haven't got lettuce leaves to hand, which I go through a ton of lettuce really.
hmm
So growing my own lettuce is key. Um, what would be my tips? Fasting. I've done a lot of water fasting and cleansing and cleaning out, and doing a lot of work with food addictions, really, because you realise you don't actually need that as much food as
yeah.
you have been brought up to believe. So that was a big key. And we're never too far from a Tesco or a Sainsbury's here in England, are we?
No,
Even me being in Devon, I'm what, 20 minutes, 40 minutes
yeah,
away from
and I
things.
think like you said, the food addictions and realizing there's more to life than food. Food's great; it's a tool; it can make us feel good, but if you're constantly thinking about food all day, every day, it can drive you crazy. Like if you know yourself when you're busy with something, I'm sure the people can relate. You kind of you don't think about food, and when you get moving, you warm up. So that's helped me personally, just not sitting down sedentary, just thinking about food and oh maybe that'll make me cold. Just get out for even like a dog walk, get moving, take my mind off food. That's helped me personally. I don't know if that's helped you, but
Yeah, I did do a lot of wild swimming as well around that point in my juice fast and plunging and
wow,
all that jazz. Yeah, that feels really good
yeah,
for you. And that's something we can do in the UK. Most places, there's someone's got a little river
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatnot. Or maybe I'm just thinking of in Devon. You don't want to be getting in the Thames, like, but
No, but no, there's plenty of beautiful nature around here. We are lucky. But there was something you touched on earlier about the vision board and how you've basically manifested everything on there into your life. And that's something I've become increasingly more interested in, especially the power of the mind and imagination and just holding that feeling of like the wish fulfilled. I don't know if you're familiar with like Neville Goddard, people like that. So how do you feel about like the law of attraction and yeah, just kind of manifestation and just how powerful our minds are when we set like a clear goal.
yeah, I mean, I've always touched on it throughout my life, but not really knowing that that's what I've done. I'll give a good example, but I really started to notice it when I'm juice fasting, and I really notice it when I'm water fasting. It's instant almost. If I'm water fasting, like on the third, fourth day, I can manifest money. Like,
Yeah,
I, don't ask me how, but it's getting to that third, fourth day is a difficult one for me. But yeah, it kind of all started for me when even after the vision board. When I was moving house and I wanted the house, but the lady didn't want to swap with me the house. She wanted a bigger house, and I just started packing. I just got the boxes out and I was packing my house. I was going,
yeah,
and in the end, it worked out. She said, "Okay, no, I'm going to swap," and I just felt like I knew it was going to happen, and that's how I did it. And that was me consciously doing. So that's when I started to notice that I could do that. So it was kind of getting to a point of no return, that apart from the only thing that can happen is the thing that you want to happen. Um, yeah, it's kind, and having a certain level of trust and faith
Mm.
is big. But yeah, when I was younger, I was in the school shot put team, and I just didn't make the district championships by one place. The only way I would get in is if the girl like broke her arm or something like that. I didn't go home and wish that she broke her arm or anything, but I remember like sellotaping my fingers like this and just wishing and wishing that um, I was going to go. And the next day we got the call, or it was the day before the districts, and they called me up and said, she's broke her arm.
Wow.
You're going to have to come in and do it. So all that throughout my life, little magical sort of things like that have happened. But now, since I've been raw, it's just like, well, what do I want to happen? And I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, it's airy fairy hippie stuff. Okay, yeah, I want to manifest these things, and I think about it and I envisage it, but I also write a plan. I get, working out how I would get this and work backwards, especially in the business and whatnot, and I've got clear cut goals. I'm not just sitting there wishing and thinking, I'm getting out there and putting pedal to metal.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think that's a good point and distinction to make, because I think it all starts internally, because you have to have a clear goal, outcome, direction, and you have to have these positive thoughts maybe to get you to take action. But like you say, it's also important to get practical and tactical as well. Maybe devise a plan and actually,
Yeah.
yeah, you need
A lot of people don't know what they want.
that
And
yeah.
I've been, struggling with that. I mean, even if you sort of look at a life partner, lots of people don't know really deep down what they
Yeah,
want. Like, take the aesthetics out of it. It's just, yeah, you've just got to get really clear on what you want,
for sure.
and then get to making it work, making it happen.
Yeah, because if you don't know what you want, how will you ever know?
How can it come to
Yeah,
you? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's true.
Mm.
I think that was something that, or it's something that's helping me. I just recommend personally, not that I'm a guru or anything, but just maybe for people to take a day, just pen and paper, just get clear on like a future vision or things you want, or not want, but just the ideal day in the life, your ideal life. Just getting clear, like you say, knowing what you want is so
Yeah.
key.
How you want to feel,
Yeah,
how you want to
exactly.
feel in that day.
Yeah. Just get
Yeah.
really clear on every nitty gritty detail, like how you feel, what you hear, what you see, and really embody that. And
Yeah.
it sounds like you're doing so.
Yeah, I do recommend. There's a little book, Project 369. It's like a little workbook. Have you seen it?
No, no, is that to do
No.
with Tesla?
It's good for manifesting. It's good for getting clear on what's important to you, like
Oh,
in,
okay.
in that sense. And
I'll
yeah,
check it out. I'll check it out.
yeah.
Yes.
20 quid on Amazon.
Okay.
Not an affiliate.
So, just quickly, I've had a thought. A lot of people, and myself included, they wonder like, what's the best kind of water to drink? And do you drink water? I assume you drink water, or maybe juices as a
Yeah. As and when, I'm not very good at drinking water. I'd rather a juice any
yeah.
day. But I do have a distiller. I have had a reverse osmosis machine in my house
Hmm.
before, but I mean, I have interviewed a couple of water experts. If I had enough money, I'd get a Kanyang machine. But other than that, I would just say, yeah, distilled, and add in a drop of a trace mineral. Would probably be, well, that's how I do
Yeah.
it. The reverse osmosis machine, in the third cylinder, you don't it puts something back into it, and you don't really know what that is, so it kind of like put me off after a while, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to take everything out
Yeah.
and have distilled with the trace minerals.
Okay.
But I've just found a spring just down my road, like last night, and it's just a spring. It's not even on the map for Find a Spring in England, and it's just coming out of the wall in a beautiful little like yeah, just like a little fancy thing.
Nice. Keep that.
I'm really excited about
Keep
that.
that
I'm gonna go
secret.
do. Yeah,
You got your own
yeah.
sauce. Yeah, I think people get caught up on it and hung up on it, but yeah, it's just. So, what was that machine? Is that the machine? It's like a kind of like a white box that
What, the distiller?
what did you say it was called? Canyon?
The Kanyang
Yeah,
machine.
is that the
Yeah,
alkaline water they talk about?
don't know what it. They electrocute it or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
because I've heard people talk about like, oh, what's it called?
I should know because I've got a couple of Kanyan experts in my friends list. Sorry, guys, they're going to kill me. But yeah, no, I'm not really familiar because I can't afford it, so I don't want to look into it
Yeah,
yet.
yeah,
And yeah, because I juice so much, it's not
yeah,
really top of my priorities.
yeah. It's true. I personally, yeah, I prefer like just the juicier fruits, and yeah, I think juices are probably best because, like you said, water it's a bit boring, isn't it, on its own? But it's
Mm,
I think it's important that obviously if people are thirsty, they're still hydrating because that's kind
yeah,
of,
yeah.
especially in the fruitarian movement, there's a lot of people who are like very dogmatic, like I'll never drink water, things like that. But then they're clearly dehydrated, you know.
Dogma almost ruined my life. Like
Yeah.
2 years in, honestly, you just gotta get rid of that. We're all gonna die sometime, and we're all going to get there, whether we get there healthier or than we would have before or whatever. It's no, don't drive yourself mad with dogma for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I've just got one more question, which I probably should have asked earlier on, but it's just going to be, what does like a day in the life look like for you now? So, what kind of time are you getting up? What are you eating? Because obviously you're very relatable as well. That's what I like because especially for the mums out there, you know, there's a lot of these influencers and people out there like that who people put on a pedestal, you know. So I'm just wondering, like, what does a day in the life look like? You're currently trying to uh, build muscle, bodybuilding, I think you said. So what are you eating? What are you drinking? Exercise routine, the whole lot.
Yeah. Oh, well, a day in the life of me. Well, a school day, which is when I work out. I'm typically go to bed probably about midnight, and then I am up about 5, 6 if I can. I'm trying to work on my sleep at the moment. I really want to get between 7 and 8, but it's just I find it so hard.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I get up and I make the children breakfast. I generally will fast until I get back from the gym, maybe somewhere like maybe 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I won't eat anything. I'll just have a bit of water and yeah, try and get some juice into the kids. They're kind of vegan. They're vegan with me. They're not vegan with their dad. And if they ask me for some animal products, which they know where it comes from because I am very honest
Yeah.
and upfront about that, if they ask me for some, I will get it. So generally, I try to help make them eat fruit in the beginning of the day and fruit juice to start, and then some fruit, and then they can have like a pain au chocolat or something, a vegan pain au chocolat, and that is me feeling like I've done an okay job for breakfast in the morning.
Yeah.
And then it's off to the school. I would have loved to have homeschooled, but yeah, doing it all on your own is
Yeah.
very
I
difficult,
can imagine.
especially with no sort of family or anything. So yeah, they go off to school, and then I will go to the gym, and I'll go for about an hour and a half. And I've been following like a muscle building program, and they gave me a funny meal plan, which I just took the macros from it, and then I just
Chuck
made
the
up my
rest.
own plan. Yeah, it was bizarre, bizarre. Um,
Was it a raw plan or just like a generic?
no,
Oh,
it
okay.
was vegan. She said, "Oh, I can't do a raw plan, but here's the vegan one." I said, "Oh, I'll modify it." It was just very much, rice, tofu,
Yeah.
and green
So
beans, kind
basically
of.
chicken, rice, and broccoli, but just vegan version.
Yeah, and it's just all dead, bland stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, yeah, no. So I did that, loosely kind of follow it. I just have a lot of buckwheat, but yeah. So I'll get back from the gym. I do quite a lot of weights, and I'm trying to lift lots of heavy weights. I'd really like to do some proper powerlifting,
Okay.
just to be able to keep up with my kids because they beat the crap out of me. So yeah, I'll go to the gym, and I'll come back, and I will. Best day, I'll have a like a beetroot juice because that helps with the muscle
Blood flow,
recovery
apparently.
as well. Best thing for muscles, isn't it? And then I will tend to eat quite a lot in that period in the day when the kids are at school and when I've come back from the gym. Some raw sushi, some big salads. I've kind of tended to come away from the nut dressings now. I'm having seed dressings or a low fat dressing, and I will stock up on sprouted buckwheat and pumpkin seeds and anything that you get your bang for your buck with the protein. But you have to be careful that the fat's not too much on that, because I mean I have got fat.
Yeah, yeah.
Being a raw vegan as well, slamming down dried mangoes and trail mix, is just.
It's definitely doable. Yeah, yeah.
If you want to put on some weight, just eat trail mix every day.
I was going to ask about protein. How do you feel about that? Because earlier you touched on like you're not quite sure, how much weight to give protein, but how much roughly how much protein do you consume, and do you consume quite a lot of like protein dense foods? Because for me personally,
Well, I'm just like,
yeah, go on.
amino acids make protein. So I'm just like, we get that from vegetables. We get all of those from vegetables, rather than just like incomplete ones as well
Yeah.
from meat sources. So I'm like, oh, but by that reckoning, do I need to ever worry about protein? I don't have a protein powder. I am getting on about. The other day I got 140 grams of
Wow,
protein,
that's
and
quite,
that
yeah,
was.
that's quite a lot.
Yeah, that was quite a lot. That was I had about three tablespoons of spirulina, 400 grams of sprouted buckwheat, and a load of nori wraps, pumpkin seeds, and that was me trying it out for a day to try and get up to that
Yeah.
protein thing that they wanted me to hit.
And how
But
did you feel after
found
that?
it. The spirulina is always good, I find. But yeah, eating a lot of nuts, the pumpkin seeds, I don't really vibe with that. Feels quite fatty now. I'd much rather just eat like a couple of melons or
Yeah, me too.
something.
I love my melons.
But I mean, I haven't noticed. I don't feel head fog or anything like that. Yeah, so I try not. I don't really worry about it, but
Yeah.
I do slightly. I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
try and get enough of the sprouted buckwheat and spirulina and
Yeah.
wraps and that in.
Yeah, I guess it's just listening to your body. For me personally, when I overdid it with the nuts, I felt pretty awful. And now I'm kind of vibing with the high fruits and the occasional like vegetable or leafy green. But yeah, I think it's just listening to your body, um, not getting too caught up, like you say, beating yourself up on these things. I've definitely loosened a bit in regards to that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, some days I will just have all
Yeah.
fruit and I won't worry about any of that stuff. If I feel like it, then I'll just,
Yeah. Yeah, because
tend to go for
it
what I feel for.
doesn't have to be like an all or nothing approach, does it? Like people can maybe incorporate these foods. I do find from just observation, the people who eat like a real high fat or high protein raw vegan diet, long term they don't seem to thrive. Um, but I think people just overdo it, like with nuts.
Mm,
Like people could easily eat a whole bag of them, myself included. I used to go for it.
yeah,
So yeah, but yeah, I think
yeah.
just listening to your body, that's key, isn't
Yeah, if you're slamming back that cashew
it?
mayonnaise and whatnot, you're
Yeah.
just gonna balloon up. But it's easily done,
Oh
and
yeah.
most people have to go through that
Yeah.
to get to the other bit. And that's the great thing when you're with if you can be flexible with your discipline, you have cracked it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you say, especially like during a transition, or maybe for people who don't want like the optimal diet, you know, like it can be good, like a compromise. Like sometimes it's like a lesser of two evils, you know, because
Yeah.
yeah, that perfectionism. But yeah, I think I've picked your brain on everything I wanted to touch on there, and I would like to end with 10 rapid fire questions if you've got time for them.
Oh,
Yeah,
goodness me.
I think this
Okay.
is my favourite part.
Oh,
I'm not sure if the
goodness.
guests
Okay, yeah.
appreciate it, but it gets them to think about things maybe maybe they never thought about before. So the first one, nice and easy, maybe, I don't know. What is your favourite fruit?
Mango.
Mm, yeah, that's top
Mm,
three for me.
for sure. Even though there's 300 different types of mango and we only have about three here, yeah, I imagine they're all amazing. But
Yeah,
yeah, mango.
for sure. Describe yourself in one word.
Juicy.
Yeah, that's fitting. That's good. What's one thing that everyone needs to buy?
A juicer.
Yeah, I've lined that one up. What's one book that everyone needs to read?
Oh, the 12 Steps to Raw by Victoria Linenko. I hope I
Okay,
said her name right.
never heard of that.
Absolute Bible of a book. Yeah.
12 Steps to War. Okay, cool.
Mm.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I've ever received.
Maybe if you can't think of externally, maybe that you've heard internally.
Oh, I love advice. You know, I advocate for advice. Even if I don't take the advice, I love listening to everyone's take on everything and forming my own thing. But yeah, best piece of advice. Don't look to external sources for validation or love. It's all within. Even like in a relationship, you should be able to provide yourself with love, and it's already in you, you know.
Mm,
Everything else, it does bring it out in you, but yeah, don't look to external sources
yeah, look
for
within.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
look within.
that's a great message. What are three things you can't live without?
Three things I could. Well, I like to think of myself as quite the minimalist, but um, doing the job that I do, my phone. I'm sad to say that, really, but my phone with boundaries, and boundaries is
Mm,
another thing that I can't live without. Um, uh, I would say my children, but is that a really lame one?
no, that's
Is that such a mum
that's
one?
probably quite an important one.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I,
They are just everything, yeah.
for sure. What's your greatest strength and biggest weakness?
Resilience, ability to change. I think it was my
Mm.
greatest strength. Weakness. Um, should be easy, shouldn't it?
No,
What's my
it's
weakness?
hard to think
I
of.
get really excitable and really wrapped up, and I'm very reactive, which is something I'm working on. So yeah, that's a
Yeah,
weakness.
could also be a strength as well, but that's
It's all
yeah,
yoga,
yeah, for
isn't
sure. What would you
it?
tell your 20-year-old self?
Oh, go harder. No, I would have said, do a juice fast. Do a
Yeah,
juice fast. Clear out your body. That is going to give you the connection that you're craving, that you're going to go looking to drugs for.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Do
Yeah.
you believe in having a purpose? If so, what's your purpose in life?
Oh, I really found like I've found my purpose with juice fasting and helping people along juice fasts. Um, but that was just like an aesthetic. That's just like a job. It is a passion of mine. I feel my real purpose is to guide two little humans through this experience and help them to realize that it's a magical experience, and it's not something that needs to be taken so seriously, and it's fun, and I just want to help them to see the fun and the beauty and the joy in world, and I feel like that's my purpose, and yeah, my job helps me to do that as well.
Amazing.
And helps me mentally, physically, and financially to do that.
Yeah, amazing. I've heard that advice from so many people, especially like people on their deathbed, or like real like grandparents, people like that. They say just take it, just like stop worrying, take life less seriously, you know. I think that's really important.
Like, even if you're going through the crap times, you know, that just, if you can smile through it or find some beauty in it, it's going to be, it's all learning.
Yeah.
Whichever road you take, no one's the wrong turn in. It's all
happening for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, on that note, what are you grateful for today?
Grateful for today. Waking up.
Yeah.
Breathing. Feeling great. And speaking to you and getting the message out to hopefully a lot more people that, you know, you can heal yourself, you can feel good, you can have a good life.
Yeah, it's a powerful message. Powerful message. So yeah, just want to end with you just sharing where people can find you, what you've got going on, plans for the future. Just it's your time.
Well, you can find me on my website, juicefastcoach.com. I'm also on Facebook, Magri-jade Jackson, Instagram at Magri-jade. I'm also on TikTok at Juice Fast Mastery. Juice Fast Mastery is my 40-day program where I help coach people through 40 days with one-to-one and Zoom calls, and we've got group chats, and it's just like a little more personal container, something that I had on my juice fast that really helped, so we wanted to sort of bring it to the masses. So that runs every 2 months. Next one is in it's the 1st of November, so whenever we put this out, the next one's going to be 1st of January, and so on and so forth. So that's where you can catch me, but I'm on all the socials. I'm always going live and just chatting away, and just talking all things juice fast all the time. Happy to answer any messages, come in my inbox, and you know, say hey. I'm open to all sorts, you know.
Great.
Yeah.
So
within reason, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, about juicing.
Keep it PG.
Yeah.
And yeah, is there anything you wanted to touch on before we end? Anything I missed?
I feel like I should say something like really amazing.
No.
All I can think of is it's one day or day one, and just get started with something, some little form of discipline, some little daily habit, even if it's not juicing, just something that contributes to future you and your highest self. Yeah. Get started on the train.
Great message. I think we'll end on that.